We are now on patch 14.7 and here is the 10 best comps to play this patch to climb the ladder. And we are starting out by playing Yone Heavenly. This comp is one of the newest comp there is, and it is also the best performing comp right now. What we're looking for here is 6 in Heavenly units, and then we want 4 in Reapers. If we're getting ourselves a Spatch, we will put it on Wukong, but else this is the board that you're looking for. You will prioritize to get Yone to 3-star at level 7, and then you will just keep putting in Heavenly units. And the same thing goes with Reaper. You gotta put healing and tanking items on Yone. These kind of bruiser items are the best. You could also go for something like Rageblade, but do you have the chance to put these specific items, you will go for that. The second most important unit is Wukong, and here you want 2 healing items if possible. You could also go for something like a Titans. The third unit you're gonna look at is Kain. And he gonna have similar items, but can you get an Edge of Night as well? It is a great performing item on him. The silver augment is still broken, and can we get it? We will use it, and we will use the items that we're getting from the augment to put on Nico, so we can buff up the frontline and especially Yone. It is a level 9 board where you want Yone as a 3-star as the main carry, but else you just wanna go for this board. It is the best performing comp. Other than the Reaper emblem, you can also use one of these on Kain, and you can also go for a Heavenly one on Kindred. The other 2 augments here is just a spat for either of them, and else a specific one like Divine Rolls. Next up we have Kog'Maw Reroll, and this is basically the classic one. We already have seen it a lot. Get these guys to 3-star, especially Kog'Maw and Cho'Gath, and else the others if it is possible. Do the reroll just before you get level 5, don't go lower than 30 gold, and then get back up to 50 gold and use all your gold above 50 to go and roll for these units. When you hit them to 3-star, start going up in levels and put similar items as these on them. You want blue buff and some sort of AP crit or more casts on Kog'Maw. You could also go for something like Gunblade. You could also go for Deathcap. And if you're getting the item where you are getting the sniper one, this one is great as well. But blue buff is essential for him. Frontline, just as tanky items as possible. You could also go for a Spark or a Static Shift if it is needed. AD items will just go on Caitlyn, but is on a lower prioritize. When it comes to augments, we are going for something that gets us the units faster. It could also be a Mythic Crest to get 5 in Mythics before we're finding both Nautilus and Lilia in the late game. Else, just more units or something specific. This one is specifically buffing up our health and gold, which is quite good for this comp. It is performing quite well, so even it got a little bit of a nerf this patch, it's still an S tier comp. Oh, and I should mention, if you want to cap out the board at level 9, you will put in Way, and especially if you're getting one of the emblems, you can get 7 in this trade as well. Next up we have Ghostly Senna, and Ghostly did get a nerf this patch, but it is still an S tier comp. It is just performing a little bit worse than before. It's still a solid top 4 comp, but winning out in the end, it's not the best comp. So what you're looking for is getting Senna to 3-star, and the same go for Shen. If you're getting one of the other units to 3-star as well, in the same way, it is fine, but it is Shen and Senna that you're looking for mostly. When it comes to items, you will take attack speed, AD and crit items on Senna. You'll put tank items on Shen, tank items on Ilaoi as well, and Morgana wants the classic one with Morello, a Sojourn and a Static Shift. Static Shift is super useful in this comp if you're not having a Spark in the front line. Ghostly does scale really well with anti-magic resist, so that is a really good item. But go to level 6 and get these guys to 3-star, push levels and get the last units in so you can have 6 in the trade. A specific one, a trade or more units faster is really good augments that you want to look for. When it comes for these ink shadow items that we're getting, what we are basically looking for is the tank one is the best one. Then we can go for the offensive ones on Senna, and the others is not that good. So the 2 second ones and then the 3 other. But I'm pretty sure that you can use all of them, but these 3s are the best ones. Do you get to level 9, you can put in something like On, you can also put in something like Set, or you could put in something like Udyr. All of them works really well in this comp. Next up we have Fast 9 with the AP comp, and here is the classic one which I already have made a full guide on, So if you want to learn how to play this comp and get to the late game, you can watch that video. I will be linking it. But else, this is the board that you're looking for. Mainly think that you want tank items on Ornn, tank items or bruiser items on Udyr. Wukong can mainly use these 3 items. Meanwhile, Udyr can use these items and Ornn's items. Azir wants some sort of attack speed, AP, mana items. Quay wants Reroll and Sojum, and then an AP item. One thing that you can do is to stabilize at level 8, which you almost always should do if you're not really high on health. But if you look at the items, they are kind of similar to Morgana. So you could use her as an item holder, put them over when you get level 9, and then start playing for the full board. But these specific units are really good for this board. You could also play something like Lissandra. You could also play something like Annie instead of Diana, but this specific one is the best one. When it comes to augments, something like Tiny Titans gives you more time to get to level 9. You could also go for one of these, one where you're getting a free 5 cost, but level up or anything else that are giving you more gold or more time or more experience faster is a really good augment if you want to get to level 9 fast. Still one of the best performing comps in the game, and if you know how to play it, you should definitely play it. Next up we have DragonLord Galio, which is basically just a fast 9 with AD. And what we're looking for here is 3 in DragonLords. So what we're looking at here is a lot of traits similar to the other fast 9 that we know. But here we're playing around Aurelia. And also keep in mind that Lee Sin and Galio is the 2 other units that we are putting items on. That is the most important thing. So you're building up around Story Reaver from early game, and then you will put in as many of these units as you can in the mid game. You could also play 5 Story Reavers, but the main thing is that you want to use Severe as the item holder, and as soon as you have the chance, you will put the items over on Aurelia. Emblems are really good in this comp, and more items could also often be quite useful. Due to you want to play tempo and you will try to keep your health high. It is one of the best comps right now. There is also an option where you can play around Yana, and you will also play around Soraka. And these 2 units in the mid game, you can even play a comp where you're getting Yana to 3-star and playing around her and then building up from that. But else, this is the board that you're looking for. Try to get attack speed, AD, and even a red buff on Aurelia, bruiser items on Lee Sin, and tank items on Galio. You just want to make him as tanky as possible. Similar to the other fast 9, the same way you're building up, get as much gold as possible, keep your health high. If you don't know how to do it, watch my fast 9 guide. Next up we have Twin Terror, and now we have a comp with Twin Terror again. So this time, are we getting one of these augments? This is the board that we're looking for. And we're basically just playing this board without these 2 units at level 6. Try to get at least 2 Lux on the board and 2 Amumus on the board, and the same goes for Illari. Then you can consider going to level 7 as fast as possible and roll down to see if you can hit these units to 3-star. As soon as you have the units to 3-star, go up in level 8, unless you are necessarily have to do it a little bit before. And when you get to level 8, you will start putting in one of these 2 units. If you're getting an emblem, you will use it for sure. That means you can just stay on the lower levels a little bit longer and roll a little bit more. Items that we're looking for is AP and mana items for Lux, and just pure tank items in the front line. A Spark is quite nice, and a Sunfire Cape is really good as well. Always remember, if you're playing an AP comp, you want a Spark or a Static Shift, so one of these 2 items. And almost always you also want some sort of fire damage, anti-heal. That could be Sunfire Cape in the front line, or it could be a Reroll from the back line. Let's say we want to play something similar because Arcanist just got a buff. We are going to play the normal one, which is 6 Arcanists. So 6 in that trait, 4 and 2, and this is the full board. Similar items as before, and you could also put your AD and attack speed items on Ashe. It is a lower prioritize, so it's not something that you're really looking for, but are you getting the items, you're obviously gonna put them over here. I've just put the same augments in because that is what you are looking for. Else you're just gonna pick something that are mentioning Arcanist, the other trait that you are playing a lot of units from, like Boiling Point. Next up we have 7 Fated, and this comp is one of the comps that are performing really good if you're getting an emblem. It is not performing that well if you're not having one. You kind of have to have a really natural game to play this comp. If you're not getting the emblem, you don't really want to force it, but are you getting an emblem early, you could definitely go for it. It is really good. So you're going to put the emblem on, and if you're not having that, you will play one of these 2 units as the 7 one. But I'm just going to remove these and show you the full comp. So this is what you're looking for. It's the 7 units that you want to use. And instead of these 2 units, you are going to play Ash because you want to buff up affiliates even more with the sniper trait. So you want to get to level 7 and play 5 in Faded. And you also want to have Fresh and affiliates to 3-star. You're looking for attack speed and AD items on affiliates. Red buff is really good as well. You will go for the opposite on Syndra, go for blue buff and the AP items instead. Fresh will go for pure tank items, but could also go for something like Sunfire Cape or Spark. Set will go for bruiser items and healing items. And if you have leftover tank items, they should go on own as well. Really, really important augment for this comp to work, getting more units faster, and something like You Have My Bow or other combat augments is working as well. As soon as you get these, or at least one of these 2 units to 3-star, go to level 8 to stabilize if you need to, but else just keep rolling for the 3-star units. A unit you could use, and you could also use in the late game, is something like Amumu, because he is fitting quite well with his traits, but else you can just look for the strongest 5-cost units you can find. It could be Wukong, it could be Udyr, it could also be Rakan, it could also be Lysandra. All of these units are really, really good at the moment, but else you could just go and play Amumu. Next up, we have Duelist Volibear. And Duelist is back on the board. We haven't really seen it before, but now it is really here. We want to play 6 in Duelist, and that is basically all of the units without Darius. If you're getting an emblem, you could go and play Darius as well, so you can get 8 in the trade. If you're getting the emblem, you will put it on Diana, but else this is what you're looking for at level 8. You will go to level 7 as fast as possible and play around these 2 units, get them to 3-star. If you get the emblem, you can play this board at level 7 before Irelia and have another unit in, and then still have 6 in the trade. If you're finding Irelia, you should go to level 8 and play this full board. Whenever you have Tristana and Volibear to 3-star, and at least Volibear, then you can start considering going level 9. And if you get to level 9, you will start putting in something like Rakan. And again, if you're having the emblem, put it on Diana, remove Rakan, and then put in Darius. So this is your level 9 board. What we're looking for is obviously the emblem, something specific for Duelist. And you could also go for this augment, which are buffing up the Titans, which is really good on Volibear. You're basically going for 2 Titans and a healing item like Bloodthirster, which is the best one. Similar items on Lee Sin. And Tristana just want crit, Last Whisper, and something like Giant Slayer to take down the frontline. That is basically it. As soon as you're getting Irelia, you just want to put the classic best Irelia items on here. That is Rage Blade, Red Buff, and Infinity Edge. Next up, we have Kaisa and Bruisers. So here we are basically playing 4 Bruisers, 4 Trick Shots, 3 Ink Shadows, and 3 Story Weavers. What we are going for here at Bruisers is more or less just the 4 best Bruisers minus some Kench. Doing 2, we want the trait from Riven and Aatrox as well. We want to play 4 Trick Shots, which we are just putting in the backline. And then we also have Kale, which are going in the backline as well. The item that we are getting here will just be the tank items on Galio or the damage item on Kaisa. The bruiser items will go on Silas. And similar when we're looking at normal items, tank items on Galio, Silas want bruiser items, and Kaisa just want something where she's casting a lot and doing a lot of damage. So attack speed is not really something that we're looking for. We just want to do as much damage with her spells as possible, and we want to cast as often as possible. That is doing to that trick shots are making us hitting other units as well. So she's basically not just killing the ones she are targeting, but also 2 other units. You could also go for something like Little Bodies. Doing 2, it is buffing up our 4 and 5 cost units, and we could also go for grab bag to get more items. Obviously, you could also play around something like Bard instead of one of the 2 other units that we are using as trick shots. But are we getting one of these? We will probably play around those instead. Bard is really only good when he is the carry one and not like a secondary one. Ink Shadow is the lowest priority, so we are not playing Udyr in the level 8 comp. So this is what we are looking for. And obviously, as I said before, you could just play Bard instead of one of the 5-cost units if you don't have it already. So change that around. And then you can get up to level 8, level 9, put this unit in instead, and push also in Udyr. Next up, we have Gnar Reroll. And this comp is one of the comps that you want to play if you're getting Emblem for it. So you're basically just going to put the Emblem on Aatrox, and that means that you can play this board way longer and see if you can hit these units to 3-star. Gnar is the most important one, then Senna, then Aatrox, and then Rek'Sai, in that order. We want to go to level 6, and then we want to try to get all of these units to 3-star. As soon as we're getting the main ones to 3-star, then we're going to push up in levels, and then we're going to try to put in something like On. This will give us 4 in the trait if we don't have the emblem, but we do kind of want to have the emblem to play this board. And whenever we have the chance, we want to go up in level once again, and then we're going to put in something like a Seer, so we can get 6 in the trait. Do you have the chance to play this, you will have a really good chance of getting high in the game. It is not a comp that you want to force, but are you getting an emblem very early, you can consider playing it if you're getting the right units as well. Other similar augments that are buffing up specific traits, or something like featherweights, is also good to buff up the 1 and 2 cost units. If you want to see more guides like these, tier list or specific guides on specific comps, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any experience from the ladder, make sure to make a comment about what you think is the best right now. Thanks for watching and good luck on climbing.